What did you do then?
A red pawn took a white pawn this way. You see, Alice, a chessboard is divided into 64 squares, red and white. And the white army tries to win, the red army tries to win. It's like a battle.
With soldiers?
Yes, here are the kings and queens that they are fighting for. Here's the red queen and that's the white queen.
How funny they look.
Here are the crowns and on top of the head and there are big feet.
It's a foot apiece, that's what it is. Did they jump along like this?
Here, Alice, you're spoiling the game. I must keep them all in the right squares.
I want to be a queen.
Here you are.
How do you do, Alice?
Now you are going to move here.
Let me move myself.
Once you have moved all the way across this board this way, then you may, and haven't gotten taken by the enemy, then you may become a queen.
Why do people always play with kings and queens? Mother has them in her playing cards too. Look. This is the king of hearts. And here's his wife. She's the queen of hearts. Isn't she cross-looking? Wants to bite one's head off. You're playing against yourself, aren't you?
That's one way to keep in practice, Alice.
But if you're playing against yourself, I should think you'd want to cheat.
Does a nice little girl cheat when she plays against herself?
Oh, I never do. I always pretend I'm two people, too. Sometimes, when I'm all alone, I sneak over to the looking glass and talk to the other Alice. She's so silly, that Alice. She just mocks me all the time. When I laugh, she laughs. When I point my finger at her, she points her finger at me. And when I stick my tongue out at her, she sticks her tongue out at me.
I'll have to write a book about Alice in Wonderland or Alice through the looking glass.
See? There's a room that you can see through the glass. It's just like our room here, only the things go the other way. The books are something like our books, only the words go the wrong way. Won't there ever be a way of getting through, Auntie?
Do you think Kitty would find the looking glass milk digestible?
It doesn't sound awful good, does it? But I might leave her here. She's been into an awful lot of trouble today. She found Sister's knitting and chased the ball all through the garden where Sister was playing croquet with the neighbors. And I chased the naughty little thing until I was all out of breath and so tired. I am tired.
Take a nap, and yes, you do have time before tea.
We're gonna have mock turtle soup for supper tonight. I heard Mama tell the cook not to pepper it too much.
What a funny little man it is, nibbling all the time.
There she is. Let's call her over. Do you think she'll come? I'll call softly. Alice! Yes, Alice! Alice! Hush, if she wakes and catches us. Alice, come through the looking glass house.
I don't know how I can get through. I've tried before, but I was afraid of cutting my fingers on the glass. Why, it's soft like gauze. It's turning into sort of mist. And why, it's easy to go through. Why, I am going through. Why, you're the Red Queen.
Of course I am. Where do you come from and where are you going? Look up, speak nicely, and don't twiddle your fingers.
Please, miss. I only wanted to see what the looking glass was like. Perhaps I've lost my way?
I don't know what you mean by your way. All the ways about here belong to me. Curtsy while you're thinking what to say. It saves time.
I'll try that the next time I'm a little late for dinner.
It's time for you to answer now. Open your mouth a little wider when you speak, and always say Your Majesty. Perhaps you don't want to lose your name.
No, indeed.
To think how convenient it would be if you could manage to go home without it. For instance, if the governess wanted to call you to your lessons, she would call out, "Come here!" And thus she would have to leave off, because there wouldn't be any name for her to call. And you wouldn't have to go, you know.
That would never do. If she couldn't remember my name, the governess would call me Miss.
Well, if she said Miss, and didn't say anything more, of course you'd miss your lessons. I dare say you can't even read this book.
saw in some language I don't understand. Of course, it's a looking glass book, and if I hold it up to the mirror, the words should go the right way again. Jabberwocky, 'twas thrilling, and the sippy toves did gyre and gimble in the way. All mimsy were the bargroves, and the mome rats outgrey. It's very pretty, but it's rather hard to understand. Somehow, it seems to fill my head with ideas, only I don't know what they are.
I dare say you don't even know your geography either. Look at the map.
It's marked out just like a big chessboard. I wouldn't mind being a pawn. Of course, I should like to be a red queen best.
That's easily managed. At the 8th square, you'll become queen. It's a huge game of chess that's being played all over the world. Come on, we've got to run now. Faster! Don't try to talk.
I can't.
Faster! Faster!
Are we nearly there?
Nearly there, where we passed it 10 minutes ago. You can rest a little now.
Why, I do believe that we're in the same place. Everything's just as it was.
Of course it is. How would you have it?
Well, in our country, you generally get somewhere if you had been running at a great distance for such a long time as we've been doing.
A slow sort of country. Now, here you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere, you must run at least twice as fast as that.
I'd rather not try. Please, I'm quite content to stay here.
At the end of 3, I shall repeat them, for fear of you forgetting them. At the end of 4, I shall say goodbye. And at the end of 5, I shall go. That square belongs to Humpty Dumpty. And that square belongs to the Griffin and the Mock Turtle. That square belongs to the Queen of Hearts. But you make no remark?
I didn't know I had to make one just then.
You should have said, "It's extremely kind of you to tell me all this." However, we'll suppose it said. 4, goodbye. 5. Oh, the Duchess! Won't she be sad if I kept her waiting?
I've never seen a talking rabbit before. If you please, sir. Oh!
Bread and butter. Bread and butter.
Am I addressing the White Queen?
Well, yes, if you call that addressing. It's not my notion of the thing at all.
If your Majesty will only tell me how to begin, I'll do so as well as I can.
But I don't want it done at all. I've been addressing myself for the past 2 hours.
Every single thing's crooked. And oh dear, what a state your hair is in.
The brush has gotten entangled in it, and I lost the comb yesterday.
Here. That's better. But really, you should have a lady's maid.
I'm sure I'll take you with pleasure. 2 pence a week and jam every other day.
I didn't mean for you to hire me. And I don't care for jam.
It's very good jam.
Well, I don't want any today at any rate.
You can have it even if you did want it. The rule is jam tomorrow and jam yesterday, but never jam today.
It must come sometimes to jam today.
No, it can't. It's jam every other day. Today isn't another day, you know.
I don't understand you. It's dreadfully confusing.
That's the effect of living backwards. It always makes one a little giddy at first.
Living backwards. I've never heard of such a thing.
But there's a great advantage in it. One's memory works both ways.
I'm sure mine only works one way. I can't remember things before they happen.
It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards.
What sort of things do you remember best?
Oh, things that happen the week after next. For instance now. Oh, my finger's bleeding. Ow.
What happened? Have you pricked your finger?
I haven't yet, but I soon shall. Ow.
When do you expect to do it?
When I try to fasten my pin again, it'll come undone and prick me. Ow! See? That accounts for the bleeding.
But why don't you cry now?
Well, I've done all the crying already. What would be the use of having it done twice? Come on! Come on, faster! Faster!
Please, not so fast.
Faster!
I'm getting dizzy.
Faster!
Everything's black on my eyes.
Faster! Faster!
I can't.
Faster! Faster!
I can't.
Then you can't stay in the same place. I'll have to drop you behind. Faster! Faster! Goodbye!
Oh, my head. Where am I? Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Oh, my fan! My fan! Where's my fan?
Mr. White Rabbit, won't you tell me, please, how to get out of here?
Oh, the Duchess! She'll have my head cut off, like birds or furs. Oh, you have it.
I'm sorry. You dropped it, you know.
She'll cut off your head.
If you please, sir, won't you tell me how to get out? I want to go home.
Oh, my fur and whiskers! How late it's getting.
It's a rabbit hole. And I'm small enough to fit it, too. If I shrink anymore, it might end up going out altogether like a candle. What does the flame of a candle look like after it's been blown out? I've never seen such a thing.
Don't stand there chatting to yourself like that, but tell me your name and your business.
My name is Alice, but
It's a silly name enough. What does it mean?
must the name mean something?
Of course it must. My name is the shape I am, and a good, beautiful shape it is too. With a name like yours, you might be any shape almost.
You're Humpty Dumpty, just like an egg.
It's very provoking to be called an egg. Very.
I only said you looked like an egg, miss. And some eggs are very pretty, you know.
Some people have no more sense than a baby.
Why do you sit here all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody with me. Do you think I don't know the answer to that? Ask another.
Don't you think you might be safer down on the ground?
What tremendously easy riddles you ask. Of course, I don't think so. Take a good look at me. I'm one that has spoken to a king, I am. However, this conversation is going on a little too fast. Let's go on to the last remark, but one.
I'm afraid I can't remember it.
In that case, we start fresh.
You talk about it as if it were just a game.
Now, how old did you say you were?
7 years and 6 months.
Wrong. You never said a word about it. Now, if you asked my advice, I'd said leave off the 7, but...
I never ask advice about growing.
Too proud?
What a beautiful belt you've got on, or at least a cravat. No, I should have said belt. I beg your pardon, miss. If only I knew which was neck and which was waist.
It's very provoking when a person doesn't know a cravat from a belt.
I know, it is most ignorant of me.
It's a cravat, child, and a beautiful one, as you say. There's glory for you.
I don't know what you mean by glory.
When I choose a word, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
The real question is whether you can make a word mean different things.
The question is, which is to be mastered. That's all. Impenetrability. That's what I say.
Would you mind, please, telling me what that means?
I meant by impenetrability that we'd have enough of that subject. And I suppose you don't mean to stop here all the rest of your life.
That's an awful lot to make one word mean.
When I make a word do a lot of work, I always pay it extra.
Oh,
You should see them come around me on a Saturday night to get their wages. That's all. Goodbye.
goodbye. Till we meet again?
I should have, you know. If we did meet again, you're so exactly like other people.
The face is what one goes by, generally.
That's just what I complain of. 2 eyes, so nose in the middle, mouth under. It's always the same. Now, if you had the eyes on the same side of the nose or mouth on the top, that'd be some help.
But it wouldn't look nice.
Wait till you've tried. Goodbye.
Drop your tears into the sea with his. He sobs as if he had a bone in his throat. He sighs as if his heart would break. What is his sorrow?
Oh, Griffin, it's terrible.
It's all fancy that. Mock Turtle hasn't got no sorrow. She wants to know your history, she do.
Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word until I've finished.
I don't see how you can ever finish if you don't begin.
I was a real turtle once. When we were little, we would go to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We called him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. What he taught us was fainting, stretchings, and drawings.
What was that like?
Well, I can't show you myself as I'm too stiff. And the griffin never learned it.
Haven't time. I went to the classical master though. He was an old crab, he was.
I never went to him. He taught me laughing and grief, they used to say.
So he did. And how many hours a day did you do lessons?
10 hours the first, 9 the next, and so on.
What a curious plan. That's why they're called lessons, because they lesson from day to day. Then the 11th day must have been a holiday?
Of course it was.
And how did you manage on the 12th? That's enough about lessons. Now tell her about the games now. He sobs as if he had a bone in his throat.
You may not have lived much under the sea,
I haven't.
and you may never have met a lobster.
I would say no, never.
Then you must have no idea what a wonderful thing the lobster quadrille is.
No, indeed. What sort of dance is it? You first form a line along the seashore.
2 lines. Seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. And then once you've cleared all the jellyfish out of the
That
water,
generally takes some time.
advance twice.
Each with a lobster as a partner.
Of course, advance twice with lobsters set to partners.
Retire in the same order.
And then, you throw the
The
lobster.
lobsters.
As far out to sea as you can.
Swim after them.
Turn a somersault in the sea.
Change lobsters again.
Back to land, and that's the end of the first part.
It must be a very pretty dance.
Would you like to see a little of it?
Yes, indeed. It's a very interesting dance to watch. I can show you more if you'd like.
No wise fish would go anywhere without a purpose.
Wouldn't you really?
Well, of course not. Why, if a fish came up to me and told me he was going on a long journey, I should say, with what purpose?
Don't you mean purpose?
I mean what I say.
Would you like to learn another figure of the lobster quadrille? Or would you like Mock Turtle to sing you a song? A song! Please. If the Mock Turtle would be so kind. Why don't you sing her turtle soup, will you, old fellow?
Such dainties would not stoop, soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, soup of the evening, beautiful soup, beautiful soup, soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful Chef,
They won't let her stay in our square.
the queen is coming this way.
She'll chop off her heads, all of them. Come on, let's fly.
You'll be safe from Archer's garden.
No room, no room.
There's plenty of room. I don't know who you are.
In my chair, this is a hatter and that's the dormouse. Have some wine.
I don't see any wine.
There isn't any.
And it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
Wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. Except for a great many more than 3.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Come, we shall have some fun now. I'm so glad you began asking riddles. I believe I can guess that.
So you mean you think you can find out the answer to that?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do. At least I mean what I said. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing one bit. Why, you might as well just say, I see what I eat, is the same thing as I eat what I see.
You might as well say that. I get what I like as the same thing as I like what I get.
You might as well just say that I sleep when I breathe is the same thing as I breathe when I sleep.
It is the same with you. What day of the month is it?
The 4th.
2 days wrong. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works.
It was the best butter.
Yes, but some breadcrumbs must have gotten in as well. I told you not to put it with the bread knife.
It was the best butter, you know.
What a funny watch. It tells the day of the month and doesn't tell what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Well, no. But that's because it stays the same year for such a long time.
Which is just the case with mine.
I don't understand. What you said didn't have an atom of meaning in it, yet it was certainly English.
The dormouse is asleep again.
Wake up, Dormouse!
Of course, just what I was going to remind myself.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor I!
I think you might do something better with time than wasting it and asking riddles that have no answer.
If you knew time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk about wasting it. It's him.
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you don't. I dare say you've never even spoken of time.
Perhaps not. But I know I have to beat time when I learn music.
Ah, that accounts for it. He wouldn't stand for a beating. Now, if you just kept on good terms with him, he'd do anything you'd like with the clock. All you'd have to do is whisper a hint of time to him, and around goes the clock in a twinkling 1:30 time for dinner.
I only wish it was.
That would be grand, certainly. But then I shouldn't be hungry for it, you know?
Not at first, perhaps, but you could keep it for 1:30 for as long as you'd like.
Is that the way you manage?
Not I. We quarreled last March, at a concert given by the Queen of Hearts. I was there to sing the song, Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at. You might know the song, perhaps.
I've heard something like it.
Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle.
Well, I'd hardly finished the first verse when the Queen bawled out, "He's murdering the time! Off with his head!"
How dreadfully savage.
And ever since then, he won't do a thing I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now.
Is that why so many tea things are laid out here?
Yes, that's it. And we have no time to wash things in between.
Then you keep moving around, I suppose.
Yes, and as things get used up, well...
But when you come to the beginning again?
Suppose we change the subject. I vote that the young lady tells us a story.
I don't know any.
Then the dormouse shall.
Wake up, Dormouse!
Of course. I heard every word you fellows were saying.
Tell us a story.
Yes, please do.
And be quick about it, or you'll be asleep again before it's done.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little sisters, Elsie, Lacey, and Zoe. They lived in a well.
What did they live on?
They lived on treacle.
They couldn't have done that. They'd have been ill.
So they were very ill.
But why did they live at the bottom of a well?
Take some more tea.
I haven't had any yet, so I can't.
You mean you can't take less? It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asked your opinion.
Who's making personal remarks now?
Why did they live at the bottom of a well?
It was a treacle well.
There's no such thing.
If you can't be civil about it, you better tell the story yourself.
No. Go on. I won't interrupt you again. I suppose there may be one.
One indeed. So these 3 little sisters, they were learning to draw.
What did they draw?
Treacle.
Where did they draw the treacle from?
Well, you draw water from a water well, so I'd assume that you draw treacle from a treacle well. Eh?
But they were in the well.
Well, they were learning to draw all manner of things, everything that began with M.
Why with an M?
Why not?
Mousetraps and money and muchness. Have you ever seen muchness? Have you ever saw a drawing of muchness?
Have you?
No, I don't think.
Then you shouldn't talk!
No! You are all very rude. This is the stupidest tea party I've been at in all my life.
A letter to the Duchess from the Queen to play croquet.
No room, no room!
There's no sort of use in knocking, and that is for 2 reasons. First, because I'm on the same side of the door as you. Secondly, because they're making such noise inside, no one could possibly hear you.
Please then, how am I to get in?
There might be some sense in your knocking if we had a door between us. For instance, if you were inside, you might knock and I could let you out, you know?
How am I to get in?
I shall sit here till tomorrow. Or the next day, maybe.
How am I to get in?
Are you to get in at all? That's the first question, you know.
It's really dreadful the way you all argue. It's enough to drive one crazy.
I shall sit here on and off for days and days.
But what am I to do?
Anything you like.
Where's the servant whose job it is to answer the door?
Which door?
This door, of course.
To answer the door, what's it been asking for?
I don't know what you mean.
I speak English, don't I? What did it ask you?
Nothing. I've been knocking at it.
Shouldn't do that. Vexes it, you know? You let it alone and it'll let you alone, you know?
There's no use in talking to you.
Achoo! Achoo!
Achoo!
If everyone minded her own business. Achoo!
It's pepper.
Of course, my cook puts it in the soup.
There's certainly too much pepper in the soup.
Sneeze and then get rid of it. Achoo! Achoo!
Achoo!
Achoo!
Oh dear, what a cook to have. Please, mind what you're doing?
If everyone minded their own business, the world would go round a deal faster than it does.
And that wouldn't be an advantage. Just think of what work it would make with the day and night. You see, the world takes 24 hours to spin around on its axis.
Talking of axes, chop off her head.
What's that?
Cat, of course.
Why does it grin like that?
It's a Cheshire cat, and that's why. Pig!
I didn't know that Cheshire cats always grinned.
They all can, and most of them do.
I don't know of any that do.
You don't know much, and it's a fact. Here, you may hold it a bit if you like. I must go get ready to play croquet with the queen.
If I don't take this baby away with me at night, it might not be safe. Cheshire cat, would you tell me please which way to walk from here?
That depends a good deal on where you want to get to.
I don't much care where,
Then it doesn't matter which way you walk.
so long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that. If only you walk long enough.
Would you tell me, please, what sort of people live about here?
All mad people.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad. She's mad. She's dreaming now. And what do you think it is she's dreaming about?
Nobody could guess that.
Why, about you. And if she left off dreaming about you, where do you suppose you'd be?
Right where I am now, of course.
Not you. You'd be nowhere. Why, you're only a sort of thing in her dream. Oh, and you're mad too.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't have come here.
How do you know you're mad?
To begin with, a dog's not mad. You grant that?
I suppose so.
Well, you see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad.
I call it purring, not growling.
Call it what you like. Did you play croquet with the queen today?
I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there.
It's so heavy and so ugly. Ugh. Don't grunt. Ugh. Oh, Mrs. Footman, take it.
By the by, what became of the baby?
It turned into a pig.
I thought it might. Did you say pig or fig?
I said pig, and I wish you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. It makes one quite dizzy.
All right.
Tweedledee.
Dump. You think we're experts? You have to pay.
Don't try to rest. If you think we're alive, you have to speak.
The first thing in a visit is to say, how do you do, and shake hands. What shall I repeat to her? Oh, listen, Captain, it's the longest. The sun was
If
shining.
it's very long, we
You mean
can
the shining simply? See, this is what could be. Oh, oysters, come and walk with us. The walrus did beseech. Pleasant walk, pleasant talk on the briny beach. The eldest oyster winked his eye and shook his heavy head, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster's bed. But 4 little oysters came in yet another 4. And think, faster came, alas, more and more and more. The walrus and the crocodile walked on a mile or so, and they sat on a rock conveniently low. and all the little oysters waited and stood in a row. A loaf of bread, the walrus said, is what we chiefly need. The night is fine, the walrus said. Do you admire the view? The carpenter said nothing except, cut us another slice. Wish you weren't so deaf, had to ask you twice. Such a shame, the walrus said. Bring them out so far and made them trot so quick. And then, that was scarcely odd because they'd eaten every. Do you see that?
It's only a rattle.
I knew it was my nice new rattle. You agreed to have a battle. Suppose so. Let's fight till dinner.
I wonder what's going to happen next.
Who is this? Idiot! What's your name, child?
My name is Alice. So please, Your Majesty.
Off with the head!
Nonsense.
Consider, my dear, she is only a child.
Can you play croquet?
Yes.
Come on then, get to your places. Where are the mallets?
Here.
Up in his head! Up in her head!
Have fun.
What is the fun?
Why she? It's all her fancy that. They never execute anyone.
What does one do?
Get to your places. Up with your head. Up with your head. Up with her head. Up with his head.
Where are the chess queens?
Under sentence for execution.
What for?
You should say what a pity.
No, I didn't. I said what for.
They box the queen's ears. Oh, hush, the queen will hear you. She hears me.
How can you go on thinking so quietly with your head downwards?
What does it matter where my body happens to be? My mind goes on working just the same. The fact of it is, the more head downwards I am, the more I keep on inventing new things.
Did you happen to meet any of my soldiers on your way to the wood?
Yes, I did. Several thousand, I should think.
4,207, that's the exact number. I can't send all the horses, you know. 2 of them are wanted in the game.
What's the war about?
The Red Chessing has his whole entire army against us. He can't kill a man with 13 hearts, you know. Just look on the road and tell me if you see my 2 messengers.
I see nobody on the road.
I only wish I had such eyes to see nobody at that distance.
Oh, I see somebody now. But he's coming very slowly. And what curious attitudes he goes into while walking. Jumping up and down and wriggling like an eel.
He only does that when he's happy. You know, I have 2 messengers, you know. One to come and one to go. You know, one to come and one to go.
I beg your pardon?
It's not respectable. Obey.
I only meant that I didn't understand. Why one to come and one to go?
You know, one to fetch and one to carry. One to fetch and one to carry. You alarm me. I feel faint. Give me a ham sandwich. Another sandwich.
There's nothing but hay left now.
Hay, then. There's nothing like eating hay when you're faint.
I should think throwing cold water over you would be better.
I didn't say there was nothing better. I said there was nothing like it. Who did you pass on the road?
Nobody.
Quite right. This young lady saw him too. So, of course, nobody walks slower than you.
I do my best. I'm sure nobody walks much faster than I do.
You can't have done that. Else you've been here first. However, now that you have your breath, you might tell us what happened in the town.
I'll whisper it. They're at it again!
You call that a whisper? It went through and through my head like an earthquake. If you ever do that again, I'll have you buttered. Tell me details, quick!
You Captain Tuykavin, I must see you again, you dear old thing.
Oh,
thinking, my dear, and that makes you forget to talk. I can't tell you just now what the moral of that is, but I shall remember it in a bit.
Perhaps it hasn't one?
Tut tut, child. Everything's got a moral, if only you can find it.
The game's going on rather better now.
'Tis so, and the moral of that is, oh, 'tis love that makes the world go round.
Somebody once said that it's by everybody minding their own business.
Oh, well, it means much the same thing. And the moral of that is, take care of the sense and the sounds will take care of themselves.
How fond you are of finding morals in things.
I dare say you're wondering why I don't put my arm around your waist. And the reason is that I'm doubtful about the temperament of your flamingo. Shall I try the experiment?
He might bite.
Very true. Flamingos and mustard both bite. And the moral of that is, birds of feather flock together.
Only mustard isn't a bird.
Right as usual. What a clear way you have of putting things.
It's a mineral, I think.
Of course it is. There's a large mustard mine near here. And the moral of that is, the more there is of mine, the less there is of yours.
Oh, I know. It's a vegetable. It doesn't look like one, but it is.
I quite agree with you. And the moral of that is, be what you would seem to be. Or, if you'd like to put it more simply, never imagine yourself not to be otherwise than what it might appear to others, that what you were or might have been was not otherwise than what it might have appeared to them to be otherwise.
I should think I'd understand that a great deal better if I had it written down, but I can't quite follow it as you say it.
That's nothing to what I could say if I chose.
Pray, don't bother yourself to say anything more than that.
Don't talk about trouble. I make you a present of everything I've said yet. Thinking again?
I have a right to think.
Just about as much right as pigs have to fly. And the moral? A fine day, Majesty.
Either you or your head must be off, and that in about no time. Take your choice. Let's get on with the game.
How are you getting on? It's no use speaking to you till your ears have come. I don't think they play at all fairly, and they all quarrel so. You have no idea how confusing it is. And I should have croqueted the queen's hedgehog just now, only it ran away when it saw mine coming.
How do you like the queen?
Not at all. She's so extremely likely to win that it's hardly worthwhile finishing the game.
Who are you talking to?
It's a friend of mine, a Cheshire cat.
I don't like the look of it, but it may kiss my hand if it likes.
I'd rather not.
Don't be impertinent. Don't look at me like that.
A cat may look at a king. I read that in a book, but I don't remember where.
It must be removed. My dear, I wish you have this cat removed.
Open its head!
But you can't cut off a head unless there's a body to cut it off from.
Anything that has a head can be beheaded.
If something isn't done about it in less than no time, I'll have everybody executed all around.
It belongs to the Duchess. You better ask her about it.
It's a lie. You'd better ask me. Do it if you can.
Cut it off!
It's gone.
It's gone! Oh, where'd it go? Oh my goodness!
Cut it off! Cut it off!
No, no!
Ah! Leave me!
Take your time.
Cut it off! Cut it off! Who are you?
I hardly know, miss, just at present. You see, the Queen of Hearts frightened me so, and I've had an awfully funny fall down a tunnel or a sort of well. At least I know who I was when I woke up this morning, but I think I must have changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, you see, miss, because I'm not myself.
You. Who are you?
I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why? Wait, come back. I have something important to say. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No. So you think you've changed, do you?
I'm afraid I am, miss. I don't keep the same size.
What size do you want to be?
I don't know. At least I've never been so small as a caterpillar before.
It's a very good height indeed.
Yes, but I'm not used to it. I wish you all wouldn't be so easily offended.
You'll get used to it in time.
Are you too big or am I too small?
One side will make you go taller, while the other side will make you go shorter.
One side of what? The other side of what?
Of the mushroom.
Look at now, Clyde. Don't causing pain over me like that. I couldn't help it. 4 jogged my elbow.
Oh, that's right, Five. Always lay the blame on others.
You should be talking. I heard just yesterday that the Queen said you deserve to be beheaded.
For what?
That's none of your business, too.
Yes, it is her business, and I'll tell her. It was for bringing the cooked tulips instead of onions.
All the unjust things.
Could you tell me, please, which side to eat?
I don't know anything about it. You ought to have been bred. We put you in by mistake, and if the Queen were to find out, we'd all have our heads cut off.
What's that?
The White Chess Queen.
Don't let her see what we're doing.
She'll tell on us.
Run out and stop her from coming here.
No, go the other way.
But she's off there.
You can only meet someone by going the other way.
Oh, what nonsense.
Go the other way.
She's running away from me. Oh, there you are. Why, I'm just the same size as I was when I last saw you.
Of course you are. And who are these? I can't tell them by their bags. Turn around. I thought so. May we please, Your Majesty, we were just trying. Be gone, or I'll send the horses after you and tell the Queen of Hearts.
Queen Alice!
Ridiculous.
Isn't this the 8th square?
You can't be queen, you know, till you've passed the proper examination.
The sooner we begin, the better.
Please, would you tell me?
Speak when you're spoken to.
But if everybody obeyed that rule, and you only spoke when you were spoken to, and the other person always waited for you to begin, you see, nobody would say anything at all, so that...
Preposterous.
I only said if.
She says she only said if.
But you said a great deal more than that. Yes, so much more than that.
So you did, you know. Always speak the truth. Think before you speak, and write it down afterwards.
I'm sure I didn't mean...
That's just what I complained of. You should have meant, what do you suppose is the use of a child without any meaning? A joke should have some meaning, and a child's more important than a joke, I hope. You couldn't deny that, even if you tried with both hands.
I don't deny things with my hands.
Nobody said you did. I said you couldn't, even if you tried.
She's in that state of mind where she wants to deny something, only she has nothing to deny.
A nasty, vicious temper. I invite you to Alice's dinner party this afternoon.
And I invite you.
I didn't know I was to have a tea party, or dinner party, but if I am to have one, I think I ought to invite the guests.
We gave you the opportunity of doing it. I dare say you haven't had many lessons in manners yet.
Manners are not taught in lessons. Lessons teach you to do sums and things of that sort.
Can you do addition? What's 1 and 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 1?
I don't know. I lost count.
She can't do addition, but can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8.
9 from 8? I can't, you know,
She
but...
can't do subtraction. Can she do division? Divide a loaf by a knife. What is the answer to that?
I suppose...
Bread and butter, of course. Let's try another subtraction sum. Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
Well, The bone wouldn't remain if I took it. And the dog shouldn't remain. It would come to bite me. And I'm sure I shouldn't remain.
Then you think nothing would remain?
I think that's the answer.
Wrong as usual. The dog's temper would remain.
But I don't see how.
Now look here. The dog would lose its temper, right?
Perhaps it would.
Then if the dog went away, its temper would remain.
They might go different ways. What dreadful nonsense we are talking.
I can do addition if you give me some time, but I can't do subtraction under any circumstances.
Of course you know your ABCs.
To be sure I do.
So can I. We'll often say them over together, dear.
Can you answer useful questions? How is bread made?
I know that. You take some flour.
Where do you pick the flower? In a garden or in the hedges?
Well, it isn't picked at all. It's ground.
How many acres of ground? You mustn't leave out so many things.
Fan her head. She'll become feverish after all this thinking.
Please, please.
Does she know languages? What's the French for fiddle-dee-dee?
Fiddle-dee-dee's not English.
Whoever said it was.
If you tell me what language fiddle-dee-dee is, I'll tell you the French for it.
Queens never make bargains.
I wish queens never asked questions.
Don't let us quarrel. What is the cause of lightning?
The cause of the lightning is the thunder. No, I meant it the other way.
Once you've said a thing, you can't correct it. And you must take the consequences.
We had such a thunderstorm next Tuesday. You can't even imagine.
She never could, you know.
Part of the roof came off, and ever so much thunder got in, till I was so frightened I couldn't remember my own name.
I never should try to remember my name in the middle of an accident. Where would be the use of it?
You must excuse her. She can't help but say foolish things. She wasn't brought up well. It's amazing how good-tempered she is. Pat her on the head and see how pleased she'll be.
I am so sleepy.
She's tired, poor thing. Smooth her hair and sing her a soothing lullaby.
I don't know any soothing lullabies.
Then I'll do it myself. Hush-a-bye, lady, in Alice's lap, for the feast is ready, we've time for a nap. When the feast is over, we'll go to the ball. Red queen and white queen and Alice and all. Now that you know the words, sing it through to me. I'm getting sleepy.
What am I to do? Take care of two queens asleep at once? Do wake up.
The trial's beginning!
What trial is it?
Who stole the tart?
I ate a tart.
You've got to be tried.
I don't want to be tried.
You've got to be tried.
I won't be tried. I won't!
Silence in the court!
What are they doing? They can't have anything to put down yet, before the trial's begun.
They're putting down our names for fear they should forget them by end of trial.
Silly things.
Silence in the court!
Silly things. Silly things. How do you spell silly?
A nice muddle their slates will be in before the trial's over.
There's a pencil squeaking. Cut it down.
Squeaking. Squeaking. Squeaking.
Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer day. The Knave of Hearts, she stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Consider your verdict.
Not yet, not yet. There's a great deal to come before that.
Call the first witness.
First witness.
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty, for bringing this in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
You ought to have finished. When did you begin?
14th of March.
15.
16th. Write that down.
14. 15. 16.
45.
Reduce that to shillings.
Take up your hat.
It isn't mine.
Stolen!
I keep them to sell. I have none of my own. I'm a hatter.
Give your evidence and don't be nervous, or I'll have you executed on the spot.
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty, and with the bread and the butter getting so thin and the twinkling of the tea.
The twinkling of what?
It began with tea.
Of course, twinkling begins with a T. Do you take me for a dunce? Go on.
I'm a poor man, and most things twinkled after that. And only the March Hare said,
I didn't.
you did.
I deny it.
He denies it. Leave that part out.
But what did the Dormouse say?
That I can't remember.
You must remember or I'll have you executed.
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty.
If that's all you know about it, you may stand down.
I can't go no lower. I'm on the floor as is.
Then you may sit down.
I'd rather go finish my tea.
You may go.
And just take his head off outside.
Call the next witness.
Next witness.
Give your evidence.
Shan't.
Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness.
Well, if I must, I must. What does your cook say the tarts are made of?
Pepper.
Treacle.
Call the Dormouse! Behead the Dormouse! I want that Dormouse turned out of court! Off with his whiskers!
The Duchess.
She's gone.
She's gone.
Never mind, dear. You must cross-examine the next witness. It quite makes life horrific.
Alice.
Here.
What do you know about this business?
Nothing whatever.
That's very important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means.
Unimportant, I meant. Important, unimportant, important, unimportant. Consider your verdict.
Important.
Unimportant.
There's more evidence to come yet. Please, Your Majesty, this paper has just been picked up.
What's in it?
I haven't opened it yet, but it seems to be a letter from the prisoner to somebody.
It must have been that, unless it was written to nobody. That isn't unusual, you know.
It isn't directed at all. In fact, there's nothing written on the outside. It isn't a letter at all. It's a set of verses.
Are they in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, they're not. And that's the strangest thing about it.
She must have imitated someone else's hand.
Please, Your Majesty, I didn't write it and I can't prove I did. There's no name sign at the end.
If you didn't sign it, that only makes matters worse. You must have meant some mischief, or else you signed it in your own hand.
That proves her guilt.
It proves nothing of the sort. Why, you don't even know what they're about.
Read them!
Where shall I begin, please, Your Majesty?
Begin at the beginning and go on till the end, and then stop.
They told me you had been to her, and mentioned me to him. She gave me a good character, but said I could not swim. I gave her 1, they gave him 2. You gave us 3 or more. They all returned from him to you, though they were mine before. My notion was that you had been, before she had this fit, an obstacle that came between him and ourselves and it. So let him know she liked him best, for this must ever be a secret kept from all the rest between yourself and me.
That's the most important piece of evidence we have heard yet. Now let the jury decide.
If any one of them can explain it, I'll give him 6 pence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
She doesn't believe that there's an atom of meaning in it.
If there's no meaning in it, that saves a world of trouble, and yet I see some meaning in it. Said you could not swim. Can you swim?
Do I look like it?
All right, so far, we know it to be true. That's the jury, of course. I gave her 1, they gave him 2. Why? That must be what she did with the tarts.
But it goes on. They all returned from him to you.
Why, there they are. Nothing could be clearer than that. Then again, before she had this fit, you never had fits, my dear, I think.
Never.
Then the words never fit you. It's a pun. Let the jury consider their verdict.
No, sentence first, verdict afterwards.
Stuff and nonsense.
Hold your tongue!
I won't.
Open ahead!
Who cares for you?
Cut it off!
You're nothing but a pack of cards.
It's very provoking to be called an egg.
Bread and butter. Wake up, Alice. It's time for tea.